they had an argument, which profession is the oldest profession. So the engineer said, you know, my profession is the oldest profession. You know, God created the universe, and to create the universe, you need to be an engineer. So the architect said, hey, wait for a second. You know, in order to create the universe, you need an architect first. So I'm the architect, so I'm the oldest profession. And the economist said, 1 minute. But he said in Genesis, God created the universe out of chaos. And who you think created the chaos? But I'm going to argue with this story today because I think that the oldest profession is storytelling. Actually, writing is the oldest profession. Because it says in Kabbalah that when God created the universe, He actually wrote the story before actually creating the universe. It actually says that He looked in the Torah, He looked in the Bible, in the book. So He had to write the book first. And then He created the universe. So you guys have the oldest profession. Writing a book, writing a story. So I'd just like to say, you know, telling a story is a very powerful thing, quality, and I'd like to talk about it for 2-3 minutes. You know, writing is not my gift. I have other gifts, I hope. But you know, I always respect and value people who are able to write, and I like to say what's so special about it. You know, in Kabbalah, some of you have studied Kabbalah, some of you have not. But everybody, I'm sure, heard about that when God created the universe, He created 10 divine channels. So basically, I will go to the Hebrew word, some of you might recognize it. It's called Sephirah. Sephirah means divine channel, but in Hebrew it actually means story. It's come from the same root of a story. He created 10 different stories. And the way God interacts, and the way energy coming down to this universe from above to below, is actually coming through 10 different stories that God created. And through stories, He actually channeled energy to the whole universe. Because all of us, you know, the power of telling a story is the ability to, first of all, to communicate my emotion and my intellect, and my vision, my ideas, to communicate it to the outside world, but in a way that is actually matterful. In a way that you have 10 different people getting 10 different perspectives on the same story. When you say something, you know, you have maybe, you said it in a very limited way. So, you have a few people understand what you said, many people understand what you say, but there is no really a legacy that's going to be left on for thousands of years. But when you write a story, you're able to bring yourself inside to the story. Is your essence coming down now to this beautiful essay, beautiful story you wrote. And for thousands of years, you'll have people reading this story and understand the story in a very high meaning, in a great meaning. King Solomon, we know in the Bible he was to be the wisest man on earth. What was his power? What was the power, the wisdom of Solomon? He was able to tell us 3,000 stories of everything that happened around us. Everything he sees, he got 3,000 stories to tell us about what he saw. Which means he was able to communicate a great wisdom through stories. And he had 3,000 people, 3,000 levels, able to understand King Solomon's wisdom through his ability to communicate things through writing and storytelling. He's a great master, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. Go check it, Google it after the lunch today. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. He was a great sage, but he was unique. You know what was unique? What was unique? He was actually telling wisdom through stories. And I have a class every Tuesday morning with a bunch of people to study only his stories. And you have so many commentary on his stories. You know, that's his ability to teach people wisdom and insight and get them inspired and motivated and see the good of other people through story. And I would like to, first of all, wish both of you, Lauren and Eitan, that both of you will have the ability and already expressed in what I saw, this book that you just showed me. You have the book here? But I know you guys just starting your journey now, and God willing, you'll be able to write many, many stories. But you have to remember that stories that you write will have a legacy for thousands of years. And you got the ability to print it, it's published, you have the ability to inspire many people. And believe me, a lot of us need inspiration, motivation. Especially the younger generation today, who kind of getting more and more lost. With all kind of TV shows, all kind of things that really getting us out of our direction, out of focus. So we need to bring the books. You know, we are the nation of the book. We have to bring the books back to our library. Not only the DVD, you know, sometimes you're walking into people's homes and you see DVD's library. Wow, that's the new thing that's actually happening in our life today. Where is the library? The library, I got 10 different books. I go to the regional library, I go to the downtown library. From time to time, getting a book when I'm bored, I have nothing to do. So we got to get the books back to our libraries and bring inspiration to people. Read the story, try to understand the meaning of the story. You could learn about the writer by reading their stories and learn from the insight, the wisdom, what they wanted to convey, and so on. So I'd like to wish both of you much success later on in life. Have many, many stories and inspire many, many people. So this is the book that actually I know this book was actually is for the money goes to a Doctor Without Borders, and I know a few doctors in town that are actually participating in this program. It's a fantastic, fantastic work they do. So that's already you starting to make a change. You know, making a nice contribution to the world by actually participating in this beautiful work. And anybody would like to get a book after, you let Eitan or Lauren know when they could order the book. So I'd like to introduce Lauren, please, to tell us the story.
It's called Soldier Red. At first, he didn't register the ringing of the telephone, immersed as he was in the creation of a sharp, hooked nose. He had already formed the face with broad, careful strokes of the brush, but it was the details that entranced him. Anyone could have a face like that, a triangular face with a mop of black hair atop it, but the hook nose gave the image character. He was filling in the shadows, concentrating on a small depression on the left side of the proud nose. When the ringing finally pierces oblivion, he almost dropped his paintbrush, so startled was he by the sound, and it took him a moment to collect himself. He grabbed a cloth from the small work table beside him and quickly rubbed paint from his delicate hands. The wall in front of him was alive with color. A jovial woman with a basket of flowers, bowing demurely to a soldier, painted all in red. It reminded him of childhood games, of the days when boys wanted to be soldiers. It's easier to make believe when reality has not set in. He doubted boys played soldiers in the streets anymore. The insistent ringing continued. He took the small funnel-shaped receiver off its hook and held it to his ear, leaning down to speak into the telephone. These days it was often crackly. He was surprised it was working at all.
Olevsky.
So I'm going to be reading an extract from my novel, The Stone Collector. So here I go. Melton's paid the cab driver, got out, and dragged her along the short tunnel. The tunnel opened to green expanse. 100 paces further lay the mansion. Mel had forgotten the magnificence of his uncle's home. Dozens of arched windows decorated the 3 floors of pale yellow brick. "This is where we're staying?" she said, gasping. She spun around and gazed at the magnificent garden. Meltus nodded. "You like it?" "Like it? Mel, this is a dream house. I can't believe you're doing this for me." 2 birds, perched upon a marble statue of a water boy carrying a vase, chirped merrily. Meltus looked at his watch eagerly. Daylight. would begin to fail soon. He needed to hurry if he was to arrange their accommodation. "Wait for me," he said. "I need a few minutes to prepare everything inside." "Oh, Mel, you're so sweet. I love you." She gave him a loud smooch on the cheek. "Gotta go now," said Meltus, nervously approaching the manager's front door. Girls were so annoying. He stared at her as she unfolded the picnic blanket where she would sit to wait for him. She'd be blown away when she saw that whole place. The problem would be getting her in. What if Uncle Fanning saw her? How open-minded would he be? Even he might be unwelcome there. His heart pounded. 2 pillars flanked by a pair of stone tigers guarded the main entrance. "Never put your hand in the mouth of a tiger," his uncle had said a million times when he was a boy. He plunged his hand deep into the jaws of the left stone tiger. However, when he removed the item in its guts, he threw it to the ground in panic. A revolver. He was starting to regret coming here. He looked back, and Lydia waved a hand. She was too far off to see the problem. He had to pull through. Both Matt and George would ask him too many questions about the sex. Be brave for once, he reassured himself. His hand slid into the other stone tiger, and as it went deeper, he touched something that produced a jingle. The mouth let out a set of colored keys in a rounded keychain.